but straight people that don't quite get it yet, is that a lot of straight girls love a little guy-on-guy action, and it's so, like, denied in pop culture.
And that's what he was saying to me. He was like, man, I just joined Twitter, and all these girls are saying it was so hot.
Do you think you want to, like, kind of play with that kind of sexuality? I mean, not all the time, but, like, you know, as a part of your artist and a part of your work.
Well, you know, I think I have been a little bit, and I think that it's really, I've gotten some heat. People are like, you're saying you don't want this to be about your sexuality, and yet that's all you're doing. It's all about your sexuality, and I'm a sexual person. That's who I am. So I'm just trying to be honest to who I am as a human being. And the album isn't, that track is the sexual one, but the album does deal with relationship, and it deals with connection, and it deals with intimacy, and it deals with love and the loss of love and the search for love. And, it's a big common theme running through the album. And so it's necessary that I'm a three-dimensional
for sure
being.
Well, the stupidest thing that I've heard is that people are like, oh my god, he's just doing it for attention. And I mean, I remember I interviewed Lady Gaga a while ago, and she was like, I'm just so upset that I mentioned that that she was bisexual, because everyone's like, I'm afraid that people are going to accuse me of just doing it for attention. But I'm like, isn't that what part of pop music and entertainment is?
That's what entertainment is. That's what entertainment is. That's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the type of artist I am. I mean, look at the video that I just made. Look at the album cover. Like, that's my favorite type of entertainers are ones that's what we do. That's why we do it.
Well, yeah, but who dismisses who dismisses Madonna or Beyonce for being, oh, look, she's just being so sexy there. She's just doing it for attention.
I mean,
it's part of entertainment.
That's what it's fun to watch.
That's what
we do it for the audience. That's why I named the album that, because I'm unabashedly showing off.
Well, yeah, and exactly. I love that the mirrored door prop that reflected.
That's a nice little symbolic, moment. Yeah.
Of course, nobody got that because no one's thinking.
Yeah.
Jerks.
Yeah.
But here's one thing that I've been reading, and I hate when gay people kind of eat them, like gay press eats their own. You know what I mean?
I know, that was weird.
It happens to everybody, right? Like in some way or another. But some people have accused of your sexually charged performance of harming the gay marriage movement. What do you think?
Well, yeah, no, I actually did read something about that, and it's so funny because first I'm not gay enough, and now I'm too gay.
Yeah, there's no winning, right?
No.
What do you say to people who are like, oh, your performance is harming the politics of the gay marriage movement?
What do I say to them?
Yeah.
I say, you know what? Apples and oranges.
Yeah.
Everybody. I'm not here to represent a movement. I am not here to be the poster child for anybody.
Yeah.
I'm not here to progress society. That's not what I'm just putting on a show. Calm down. Don't read into it so much.
Yeah. Do you think they think that should block you from being able to even be open about your sexuality in a performance? Like, if you can say, I want to be a gay poster child, but then you go and kiss some guy, that's not really political, but they're forcing it to be because people are stupid, right?
Yeah, it's a really tough road to navigate, and I think at the end of the day, people need to realize that I'm human and I'm just exploring my art, and I'm doing the best I can.
Do you see yourself in the future, settling down and getting married and having kids and having that kind of new gay lifestyle?
Maybe someday, yeah. I don't rule it out. I think I'm kind of a romantic at heart, so and I do want to fall in love, and I do see domesticity as something that's really beautiful and important. So yeah, I could see myself going there if I met the right person someday.
Do you think it's worth I mean, in general, gay artists kind of trading open and sexy, fun demonstrations of their sexuality to be acceptable by the mainstream? And I mean, I can think of a few artists. I mean, even, unmentioned Clay Aiken, as someone who kind of cleans up their image and tries to push their sexuality completely out of their music. Do you think, would you do that to be accepted if someone told you would sell more albums if you weren't?
Well, I think it's too late now. If that was even, I think I've already kind of flung the door wide open. I mean, that's kind of what that song's all about. That's one thing that I was attracted to. Is I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna be sexual in this song. That's the name. That's what the lyrics are about. This is what I want to get out there as a first look, just to kind of get it out there and break away and be able to do my thing. You know what I mean? And like I keep saying, that's the one song on the album that explores that subject matter. And now I'm going to have plenty of opportunities in the future now to do videos and live performances of different songs. I mean, for example, this morning on the early show, I performed 2 songs that are cute and flirty, but they're not, dark and sexual. And it's a totally different energy. Every song's different.
Do you think? What do you think about this double? You talked a lot about this double standard. Does America need to change the way it looks at gay sexuality? Blurring out a kiss is just ghastly. Like, that's so stupid.
Yeah, that
Backwards.
was pretty, that was a poor move, poor taste.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, what are you going to do? I mean, it's the reality of the situation that we're in right now.
Do you want, like, I mean, obviously people are going to keep talking about this. You know, is this something that, you mean, here's one thing I was the most worried about is I was always like, oh, please don't apologize. Please don't.
Oh, and I haven't. I refuse to.
Could you promise us you won't apologize for it?
I promised. Yeah, and I haven't yet.
I know you haven't yet, but I was like,
no.
Please don't. Because, like, you know, it's like Janet Jackson apologized for it, and it's like,
no, I won't.
That was planned.
I won't apologize. No, I won't. Because I really don't feel like what I did was wrong.
No.
Somebody else thinks that it was wrong. I don't.
Yeah. One of the fun things that in the out interview that I liked that you said was you talked a bit about how it's kind of painful for you to watch like some parts of gay media or Loga and stuff like that because it's so poorly written and cliched and token. What would you like to see change in that kind of representation? You know,
I don't know. I just think there needs to be a higher standard, maybe, and maybe there needs to be a I don't know. My whole thing is like I just think that, and you know what? I think that the letter that Aaron Hicklin wrote, kind of like what I was trying to say in my response to it is that I feel like he's old-fashioned. I feel like his viewpoint is taking the gay community and like not allowing it to progress because it's so focused on older, older ideals. You know, we have the older generation. It's a generational divide in the gay community. I mean, the younger guys that are coming up aren't as wrapped up in all that. That we're more about, being part of a mixed culture. You know, I mean, with like racial politics, when we were segregated and separate, quote unquote, but equal, we were still dealing with a lot of racism in America. But when we finally learned how to be more colorblind and just kind of desegregated, that's when we moved forward. And I kind of feel like that's what we need to focus on right now. It's not how we're different, but how we're the same.
Well, yeah, do you think that like their generation was so obsessed with being like equality and being the same as straight people that we're like, I just want to be whoever our generation is. We're going to be whoever I am, whatever that means.
Yeah, I just feel like I don't feel like sexuality is a reason to be a part of a group. I think that it should be based on other things, and maybe I'm being overly idealistic, but I just think that it should be about individuality. I think that should be the thing that's championed here.
Yeah, it's like walking that line where it's a part of you, but it's not all of you. And
no.
It says that it is.
No, and I think it's kind of, and it's what I've said to Out Magazine, I think it's a little bit sad that, and listen, I'm not like trashing the gay community. I've hung out in gay bars in my whole 20s, and I have tons of gay friends and all that. What I'm saying is that I think that it's kind of funny that the reason why all these people hang out with each other and socialize with each other is merely because they are attracted to the same sex. I mean, that doesn't seem like a reason to socialize with somebody. That doesn't seem like a real common interest. I mean, if
you don't build beyond that, no one will ever feel like they fit in because they're just doing it because there's nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, straight clubs or straight people don't hang out with each other because they're straight. They have common interests.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just think, it's time to move forward, and I think that his letter and his viewpoint is dated and old-fashioned.
Do you think like being like an openly gay rocker will help? Just visibility, It's
visibility. I think that's the key word. I think that's important enough, and I think that in itself is novel, and that's the only thing I'm really attempting.
Yeah.
It's just to be visible.
And I have to ask this because I was just curious myself. Like, as a total rocker who loves leather, like, are you like into the leather guys? Or
no,
that
has never.
That?
No, that has never done anything for me ever. I think it's fun to play with as like a fashion accessory.
Yeah.
Like but that lifestyle is not for me. Not at all.
I feel like a little leather now and then.
No.
No,
You'd be surprised. I like wearing it like in fashion, like I said, but
just from a fashion piece.
I'm not into. That performance was like it was campy. It was ridiculous. It was over the top. It was me being like playing the role of experimenting with the ideas of dominance in as like a performer, as an entertainer. But that's definitely not something that I explore in my personal life. I'm kind of a romantic. I'm actually kind of vanilla.